Hello friends, today we are going to put together the covers for these patriotic journals. Now if you've been watching, you know that this was the front of this special book about the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893, and this was the back cover because it was a sample book and from which you could choose which cover you wanted to order your book in, and it came with the spines that would also be on the books, which is wonderful. They are 3-inch spines, so these are going to have to be big books. So in order to make 2 journals out of this one cover, I had to have something to be the back cover. So I just got this game yesterday, the Hail to the Chief game, and it's got a nice thick back or board to the game, and I laid my cover on the section that I wanted. I wanted this presidential seal and our early presidents here, starting with George, and I laid it on there, drew around it, and then cut. And it was not easy but doable. I cut with my tonic scissors from Tim Holtz. And then on the other side of it, I did, the other piece is right here. It's got the Washington Monument in the corner. It's got the southwestern corner, California, Nevada, and we have Alaska here. We have Grover Cleveland through Calvin Coolidge. But they have a rough edge because I cut them, and so I took my emery board, just a Diamond Cosmetics emery board, and I filed the edges of this one, and I'm still going to cover them with fabric because it's a raw edge. And it's a little bit uneven there. It's so hard to cut that straight. And, you know, my brother built this desk, and he has tools. And if I had gone to his house, he would have happily cut this for me. But it's about between 45 minutes and an hour drive. And I just didn't want to do that. So I cut it. So I'm going to file this one. I just cut this one before I turned the camera on. And I'm just going to file the edge down. So, like I said, I still have to cover it with fabric, but at least it'll feel smoother if you rub the edge under the fabric. This and this edge are finished. I don't have to cover them. So that feels much smoother. And I realized as I'm prepping for this video that I don't have very much tie-back. This is all I have left. I better order some more tie-back. But I'm going to have to piece some together. I think it would be fine without the tie-back because the fabric will keep it from, you know, coming apart. The fabric won't tear. But I really like the stability of these pieces, the tie-back, and these are heavy covers, so I really want that stability. So I don't know, we'll see what we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and put the covers together. I'm going to have this as the end paper, so it'll just be a solid black on the back. And I have to cover the edge of the books too because this was attached to it like that. So let's start with this one. This will be the front. That will be the inside. And this will be the spine. Just like that. It needs to be trimmed a little bit more. That piece is too narrow for this thick spine. I don't know if I can get enough Tyvek to do both journals. I could walk down to the post office and get a mailing envelope, but really, you're not supposed to use them. You can cut one up if it's already been used, but you can't just take the supplies from the post office and use them for your own purposes without that they're intended to be mailed. And it is a federal supply, so you're not supposed to do that. So I can use this way. Actually cut that a little bit small, but it'll fit on there. And I'm going to add my tape, my red liner tape. The best place to get this is at Hobby Lobby because it's the cheapest place, and all these red line tapes work just as well as the other ones in my experience. And you can also order them from Amazon. I used a 1/4 inch. I was at Hobby Lobby and I was going to get some because this might be the last roll that I have. I forgot. I can get it from Amazon, like I said, but I guess I'll order it from Amazon if I really have to. I think I'm going to have to go back up to the plaza where my Hobby Lobby is anyway, because my new glasses are fine, except for I went to church on Sunday. I picked my glasses up on Tuesday. I went to church on Sunday, and it looked like my pastor had 2 heads. It started out with a weird, like he didn't seem like he was clear around the edges. And I thought, what's wrong? I know it's not him. It's my glasses. What's going on? And then the two images, his head seemed to just kind of, I could see more and more of it. And then it became 2 heads, like space between them, 2 heads. Like, well, this isn't right. I was having double vision with my glasses, but only as I was sitting in my chair looking at him from a distance and looking up slightly. I don't want to have to go back, but I can't. It made me a little bit dizzy, and I don't want to have to deal with that. They've got to fix it, but I don't know how they can. But it's not my job to figure it out. I just don't want to have to go back up there. But I knew that was a possibility if I got my glasses way up in Horseheads. It's only like half an hour away, but I don't like driving that much. And it takes time. But I could go to Hobby Lobby and get some red line tape. So as you can see, the tape isn't really red, just the liner. So I'm lining it up on my mat so I know that it's straight. Oh. Trouble is, if you get your hand or your paper stuck to the tape when you don't want it to, you move it out of place. That's barely on there, but it's on there. think I will cover. See, usually I have a blank. It's upside down. I have a blank chipboard. Our tape stuck to my spine piece, except for that one that you saw. So I'm going to reapply this. Just because I'm on video, I'm having some difficulties. No, probably not. I would be having difficulties even if you weren't watching. But you can see that it's not, everything doesn't go exactly the way you want it every time. As I was saying, normally I would have blank chipboard, and so I would wrap fabric all the way around the spine. But I don't want to cover this. And I do want to cover this ugly gap. So what am I going to do? Because it has to go at the top too, like around. So let's do that before we cover the edges. I have a few pieces that I can use. Some strips that I had. I'll use them first for covering the bits of the cover that I want to wrap. I don't want to cover too much because it's pretty. This book is a lot thicker than the spine, so it's a little bit of a drop there. Oh, I think that would be better. This is part of a fabric sample. I'm going to cut off the pinked edge. It's a polished cotton. I think I can cut it to here. Okay, now I just have to glue them down. I did pull out some more burgundies instead of red for the other cover. No, I'm just going to use it. I already put glue on the end, so I'll just wrap it right around. Okay, now I'll do this one. This one wasn't quite as wide as that, but that's okay. It's a patchworky look anyway. Right here, this Tyvek is cut right down to the edge of the cover, which it doesn't really need to go that far down. And when I cover this, I don't want to wrap it around to the other side, and I don't want the white to show. So I'm going to trim a little bit of this so we can cover it with the fabric. This is what's tricky about using the existing spine if you have to take the book apart. If you keep the spine and the cover together, then you don't have to do this. You can just reinforce the spine like on the inside. But like I said, I'm figuring it out as I go. I've probably done this similar things before. Okay, I think I trimmed enough off that I'll be able to cover that white. Okay. And maybe I'll use this on the inside. I have a lot of this fabric. Yeah. I'll just cut enough of this to cover the tie-back widthwise. Oh, that was a little more. Well, yeah. I'm going to see, this fabric is going to stick out over here because of the way I had to put the covers together, and that's going to be fine. I'm going to let it be a patchy look. So I don't need to go all the way to the end of this fabric. That would just be too much fabric, and I don't want to cover that much of at least that. But so I'll cut this to the size of the tie-back. Oh, I got to cover the tie back. So I have to go all the way down there. Kind of messy the way I cut it, but that'll be covered. Okay, this will cover it, but I started cutting it there, so I'm going to just cut a new strip, the right size. Then I can cover these raw edges with some trims. Once I have a cover in place, then I can proceed with the pages. when I'm unsure about the cover, especially a fabric cover. I do struggle making fabric covers, like getting started on a fabric cover, because I don't have a firm foundation. Does anybody else have that struggle? And I like making journals with book covers because I know exactly how big the journal is going to be. I just have to decide on the spine size. But in this case, the spine size was decided for me, but I had to figure out how to put it all together. So each different type of cover is a different type of challenge, but it's all fun. It's fun to figure it out. That looks nice. Let's see what it looks like on the front now. If I had turned this the other way, I could have two pinked edges and I wouldn't need to cover it with trim. But I could just put a little bit of trim here. It doesn't have to be the full length. I could decorate the black cover in different ways. But before we do that, well, actually, I think I need to use my trims before I wrap the edges, because I want the trim ends to be covered also. So, oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. This was from, I think it was from Sarah, but I might get it mixed up now which one. I got Happy Mail from Sarah and from Doris with Patriotic stuff. So one of them sent this to me. And I do have other reds and blues of rickrack. So yeah, that would be nice, just that bit of it there. I think I'd rather not use red on the cover since I don't have any reds in the fabrics, but I might wrap around reds, so it would be nice to have a little bit of red showing up on the spine area. Let me look for my red rickrack. I have some gimps and I have some rickracks. Can you believe I have, where'd it go? Burgundy rickrack. Beautiful for that other cover, but I could use it on this one too, and it wouldn't be so, this is antique and very classic looking, and I think the bright red would just be a little bit jarring, and I think this would be perfect. And there's also a little bit of burgundy velvet rickrack. Did I drop that back in there? Nope, this is it. It's a deep, deep burgundy. It looks almost brown. So I like this one better for this. So let's try this. Inside the cover, it can be a brighter red. I have a lot of reds to use, and I want to use the reds. But I just think on the cover, I would like a more classic look, even though it's patchwork. Oh, that is so beautiful. I have the burgundy rickrack on the front, and I used this white with gold metallic threads in it up here, and a little bit of burgundy gimp. I decided that I want to cover this green on the inside, and I'm using a vintage ledger page to do that. And of course, I'll leave this as it is. So I don't need to put a trim here, and I don't need to put one here. That raw edge is fine. So let's figure out the fabrics we will use around the edges. So I need one on this edge and on this edge and on the bottom and the top on the back. Oh boy, let's just try this one because it matches the burgundy ribbon or rickrack. And I can have it more on the back than on the front because I don't want to detract too much from this beautiful image. So this is Columbia, and that was a nickname for America because of Columbus. And this is Christopher Columbus right here, a bust of Christopher Columbus. So Columbia is an old-fashioned nickname for America, the United States of America. So that's why we have our nation's capital in the District of Columbia. And Columbia is a prominent name on different things in America. There was a song called, there probably still is, a song called Hail Columbia, I think. Patriotic song. But she's the female representation. Edge rolled under. Looks like I laid it down in some glue. That looks good. And then I can like add a decoration to the edge here so it's not just a strip. Something like that, maybe. I have some other circles. And squares. Got that patchwork piece. Oh, here are the circles. I like this one. I think I'd rather save the flags for somewhere inside. I think we're going to go with this. Wait, I got stars. Yeah, let's do this one. That cover, the front can be done. I can embellish it further if I want to. I think there's some gold in the embossed part, so I might, if I had a little gold rickrack, I don't know if I do, but that would be nice to have just a little strip of gold over here. I'll have to look for that. In the meantime, we will continue. I will add, maybe I should add the same fabric to the back, or maybe on at least one of the edges, I'll add the same fabric. And what other burgundies do I have? Well, I can use blue too. Yeah, we'll use blue. I have this I can use. And I have the plaid You're just not going to be able to read the president's name. You'll have to figure out who they are by looking at the picture or looking them up, because you know George Washington is the first president. You may know the first several: Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison. And then we get into James Monroe, John Q. Adams, and Andrew Jackson. That's if you care who these portraits are. Yeah, I'm going to put some plaid on, and then I'll add some of the stars. They do not cut fabric, even the threads. I appreciated my son-in-law the other day. He was doing something here. I don't remember what he was doing, but he needed scissors. And he picked up a pair of white scissors that were on my end table. I keep scissors upstairs for when I'm fussy cutting and other things, but he picked up the pair of white scissors from my end table, held them up, and he said, "Are these for paper?" And they were, and I appreciated him asking first. When you have fabric scissors, you know how that is. Protect the fabric scissors. They get dull if they cut paper. Oh, I'm covering too much of their faces. I'll put some of this at the bottom. Oh, I have to cover part of George's face. Sorry, George. Mr. President, sir. done. This is looking pretty fun on the back, isn't it? I might put that there, but let's finish the top. My favorite president is Abraham Lincoln, just in case you were curious. You probably never thought about it. I wonder who her favorite president is. Do you have a favorite? My dad's favorite was Eisenhower. Of course, I wasn't around with Abraham Lincoln, but everything I've read about him makes me admire him. And not that he was a saint. He was not. But he really had integrity. And he wanted what was best for the nation. Okay, so that's done, and I'm going to add this right there. So I have to go through all those steps to do this journal cover. Here it is, the second cover, the beautiful embossed burgundy cover with the gold lettering on it. This gold is much brighter than what was on the front. This is much more faded, and it stands out more against the dark burgundy too. It says World Columbian Exposition with many drawings. And it's just so beautiful. You can see it's worn at the top here. But I edged it with this rustic looking gingham. This is so beautiful and classic looking. But this represents how our country was made, with pioneering and farming, agriculture, people traveling across the ocean to settle here. And this is how it looks on the back, with some gimp and this kind of a rickrack with gold threads in it. And I love the spine. I felt like it needed another piece to kind of secure this fabric that's folded over, so I added this black and white striped ribbon. And this is how it looks on the inside. So both covers are now done. And it's going to take a lot to fill these. These are 3-inch spines. So I might do 5 signatures and lots of embellishments in order to fill them up. So I guess I've got a lot of work to do. So I'll be back with another video. First thing I'm going to do is start selecting papers, and then the next thing I'm going to do is clean up my room, because I cleaned off the table enough for me to do this, but I need to clean the rest of my room. So that's got to be a priority before I actually get started on making the journals. Thank you for watching today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.